Naval Jack helicopter instructor.
All right, well, live here, Ben?
Yep.
Okay,
I told him, I said, I gotta get.
welcome. We can open the meeting, Tony. Paul.
What you did.
We'll call to order if everybody's ready and get on with our meeting here. So roll call. So let's go by absentee. David is missing. Joe is missing. Well, John, second John.
Yeah, all right. The other John.
Joe just made it. Okay, he's off the scratch list.
Hey.
All right, so we do have a quorum. And first on the agenda, as we've been doing lately, is public comment. So you have a queue.
I do. We have Brad Walker and Joshua Cooperman on virtual, and then we can open up to the room.
Okay.
I guess.
Let's try the calls first.
All right.
Thank you, Ben.
Brad Walker, you're unmuted, and I hope you can hear us. I haven't had an audio check yet.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Brad.
Can you hear me?
Things are always fun.
All right. So I'm assuming they can't hear us.
Oh, maybe they can't hear us.
Brad, we can hear you. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me?
We're good then. Let's go.
Okay, awesome. Good afternoon. Brad Walker. I live in the town of Superior. Just a quick comment. I'm really excited about the new inauguration flight from JSX happening out of Jefferson County. I certainly hope the airport, we can encourage the fire truck to maybe give an inauguration water cannon salute. That's always a fun thing for the airplanes and its passengers. And anything else we can do to, relish and celebrate this new operation is a good thing. So that's it. Appreciate all your efforts and keep up the good work. You folks have a good day.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate the suggestion about the water cannon. That is fun.
And up next, Joshua Cooperman. I'm unmuting you now.
Hello.
There, Joe. Okay, we got you. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Josh Cooperman. I live in Louisville. I have not attended one of these advisory board meetings before. I'd like to touch on a few different topics briefly, each of them, not in any real particular order. Some of my comments will be questions, which you can take as rhetorical or not. Anyway, so first of all, I wanted to ask if the airport has a decarbonization plan. As far as I can tell from your website, you do not have any kind of decarbonization plan. I would urge you to begin drafting such a decarbonization plan as soon as possible. Climate change is upon us. It has been upon us for a while now, and everyone needs to do their part, including the airport. If you want some more information about the urgency of the climate crisis, I suggest you look at the IPCC report, in particular the press releases for that. Here in Louisville, we are making efforts to decarbonize the city. I serve on the Sustainability Advisory Board, and our board is working to decarbonize the city. There are a lot of airplanes that fly out of RMMA over Louisville, and by any reasonable accounting, in fact, it's what the city does, we have to take those carbon emissions from the air, from all the flights that go over Louisville into account. And in a sense, they belong to us. And since we don't have any control over the airport, being in Boulder County, it's really hard for us to decarbonize flights that go over Louisville. Okay. Secondly, I wanted to talk a little bit about noise from the airport. As a lot of people in Louisville, I am severely impacted by noise from the airport. and it's quite a concern of mine. I'm going to reiterate some comments I made at the Community Noise Roundtable this month. You know, there are planes that go over all the time. I personally, am affected by planes that go over early in the morning because they wake me up well before I would like to wake up. I noticed in the strategic plan that was recently adopted, at least at some point in that strategic plan, there was a suggestion that the airport could have restricted hours, maybe beginning at 8 a.m. That would be great. It would be a real good start to reducing noise, at least in the morning. Okay. And then the last thing I'd like to briefly comment on is lead pollution, which is also a real concern of mine. I understand that it's perfectly legal for airplanes to use leaded fuel. I think it is extremely irresponsible, though, and perhaps even unethical or amoral. I would like to recommend that the airport do a study of the contamination due to lead that the airport causes. I would also like to suggest that the airport convert as soon as possible to unleaded fuel. As I understand, a lot of those planes that use unleaded fuel can run with unleaded fuel. I understand there are some that cannot run with unleaded fuel, but I read somewhere a statistic that something like 2/3 to 3/4 of them can run with unleaded fuel. And I think it is imperative that we switch over. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
That's it online, so.
Okay. Those present and enjoying pizza, anybody care to make a public comment? It's not required because you had pizza.
You want to comment on how good the pizza is, Jay, or is it all right?
As good as the last one.
Okay. Great.
Make a couple quick comments. Airport's open 24/7, 7 days a week, so there's no limitations on when planes fly or when they don't. And there's not gonna be any limitations because it's federally funded, so. As far as the leaded fuel, we're required to use that fuel. That's what the planes are approved for. We have no options right now. They are in plans for getting unleaded fuel approved. It's in the process. There are a few particular airplanes that can run some unleaded fuel. They have to be approved, and I would say probably 20 airplanes, maybe 2 of them are approved to run unleaded. So it's not an option for a lot of airplanes. And then there was one, that was the main things I was going to kind of hit on just for information for what we have. I own school, I operate airplanes, and we do maintenance on the airplanes, so I know the ins and outs of all the fuel and the procedures and stuff for the airplane once approved. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, I think most of us would love to get the lead out of the fuel as fast as it is available for us. No doubt about that. Other comments? Okay. Move on to the, everybody get the minutes from April? It seems like a long time ago because it was. They looked okay to me, but any comments, any adds, deletes? Changes?
Make a motion. And it's be approved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That is it. We're on to the business item on the agenda today. Is that Paul?
That would, I think, be me. All right. Ben, you want to do it?
You're here. Since you're here.
So, for those of you online, I'm Paul Ansel. I'm the airport director. Thanks for coming, and for everybody here in the crowd. Most of you probably know me, but again, thanks for coming. This is an exciting day for the airport and for the Airport Advisory Board. We spent 4.5 years trying to get to where we are right now and what's about to happen on August 4th with commercial service. So, lots gone into that. Just as a update, our year-to-date growth, you can see in Ben, these charts are so small, sorry. Long story short, we are growing and our ops are going, so our flight schools are successful, our FBOs are successful, our incoming jets and cargo planes and things like that are working. And it looks like we're on track to be close to 30+% growth this year in operations. Operations then equal fuel, which helps fund the airport and support our businesses. That also creates business or positions in air traffic control. So as we get more and more operations, then air traffic control becomes more capable to handle that and to get better equipment, more staffing. So all of those are very, very exciting. But what we're here to talk about today, and why I wanted to get it out to the tenants, is we're about to go into commercial service. Not Part 121 like United or Spirit or one of those sort of standard, but Part 380. So it's a scheduled charter. And the airline that's going to be coming out here is JSX Airline. They're based in Dallas. And they fly Embraer 135s. That's that pretty jet right up there. And then if you guys look in the picture below it, there's my seat right there. Very nice seats, very comfortable. They're going to start on August 4th, 4 flights daily. So 2 to Burbank, 2 to Dallas. We call it, and I don't know if the airline likes this, but we call it the poor man's charter because it's just as if you're going to go to an FBO and get on a Wheels Up or a Mountain or any of these other charter things. You show up, there's no TSA. There is some screening, so it's not security free, but it's not your standard TSA. They have 30 seats in a 50-seat jet, so they reconfigure them. And the reason they reconfigure them to 30 seats, that gets them under that TSA requirement. Hassle-free, you basically park your car, you walk across the street, you give them your ID, and they say, have a seat. 15 minutes later, you're on the plane action way. Free drinks, free food, you can bring your dog, convenient parking. Next slide, please. So this is from their website. They talk about no crowds, private terminals, 30-seat jets with business class legroom, free snacks and drinks, 2 free checked bags, contact-less check-in, and this is flying redesign. So again, pretty exciting to think about that coming here and that service coming here to this airport. Next slide, Ben. Here's their route map. Their 2 hubs are in Dallas and Burbank. And you can see they're kind of focused heavily in California, but they also go out to Florida and up to Westchester in New York. We believe that as we grow, and if they're successful, and there's all indications that they will be, they'll start bringing flights in here. And I actually was on a conversation with their senior leadership yesterday, talking about future growth and how do we accommodate that here. And again, it's very important to us at the airport, to the advisory board, that we have a successful airline, but we also have successful businesses and tenants and people getting to their jobs. So we're concerned and we're working very diligently to make this transition seamless. So that's pretty exciting that we're going to grow and expect to grow here and add this thing. Okay, why would the airport want a commercial service? The number one reason, and this is when Denver Air Connect left, they were getting about 7,500 passengers a year. For the FAA, when you bypass 10,000 enplanements, so that's 10,000 passengers, your annual entitlement goes from $150,000. So that's what we as an airport get every year to run 1,700 acres. That entitlement jumps up to $1 million annually. So that's the winner for the airport. And ultimately, when I say the airport, ultimately that's the people in this room, that's the people who are our tenants, because we can do more asphalt, we can do more things, we can develop more, we can make this airport better and better because we have the finances to do it. So that's the number one benefit. The other reason we really like this model, this 380 JSX model, instead of the 121 carrier, no TSA requirements. And so as TSA, it really affects the airport. So I've got to do fences, security cameras, the TSA gates and all the people and all that. But what that does to you all is every person that accesses this airport needs to get a badge. Not the badge that the airport issues, I think, for $25 for life. It's an FBI fingerprint $100 a year badge. And if you lose it, there's a whole kind of thing. And so people who work for you would have to get that badge. People who are just coming to your hangar just to visit and have a barbecue would have to get that badge. And it really changes the tenor of how an airport works. We really like this because that's not required with this model. There's no CIP, those TSA badging and that FBI background check is not required. So we get the financial benefit without the inconvenience for all the people who access the airport. Now, I will tell you, airlines come to airports all the time and say, we want to work here and we want to operate out here. And so I never say, oh, we'll never go to that model, but this satisfies what the airport's looking for. And we'll see what happens in the future, but this was the thing. So what are the sort of the downsides, right? I've been talking about all the upsides. There are going to be some downsides. There's going to be some impacts, and those will be parking, terminal, and then the ramp. So next slide, Ben. Parking is going to be probably the biggest impact for everybody that's, you know, a tenant here or working here. We currently have a long-term parking lot that's shaded in yellow. We have the short-term parking lot in green, and we don't charge for either one of those. The purple line there by the long-term lot is leased to the hangar people for those employees and customers. So that'll be Greg and his crew. The other yellow line by short-term parking currently has 7 national rental car spots reserved. We're expanding that to be that whole entire line, so that'll be 25 spots reserved for 2 rental cars. Then you can see kind of out on the ramp. Next slide, Ben. So we're an airport. We have commercial service. What happens? We start charging for parking. That's just the way things go. So how does that going to work here? And we have plans to pave that in next year and expand that. They have QR codes you can scan, and then you can say, I'm going to be here for 4 days, and you get charged 4 days on your credit card. Or you can text the number, and it'll send you a link, and you can do the same thing. The important thing to remember is the long-term parking lot is where we want JSX customers to park. We want them to go there. We want them to pay for parking. Our short-term lot is for the people who are in this room, the people who are accessing the airport, coming to the Blue Sky for lunch, coming to here. That's going to be no overnight parking. We're not going to charge for it. So kind of business as usual if you're going to come here. I don't know where most of you all park, but I'm assuming in our short-term lot. That will be business as usual. And we're putting up signs that say, you know, no overnight parking, parking enforced, towing, you know, things like that. And I'm telling everybody, we're gonna have some hiccups. Understand that somebody is gonna get their car towed. And it's probably one of Signature's customers. So you need to tell your people to park in your lot. And if Greg, if you've got somebody coming in, they're gonna go across country on one of your planes. And so we are gonna have some hiccups. We're working diligently. The airport has really spent a lot of time and effort trying to figure out how we can make this as seamless. And all I ask is that you guys cooperate with us, identify the problems as they come up, work with us, and we'll try to figure it out. If there was an event, so we're gonna have the plane pull in August, we're gonna have the car show. The car show's on the other side, but as events come up, we will adjust the parking. We'll figure out, we're not looking for parking on this day. You can park in the long-term lot because it's a short-term thing. So again, these things are going to be worked out, but I ask you to be patient and cooperate with us and work with us so that we can make this as flawless. Next slide, Ben.
Just real quick,
Yes,
does there
sir.
have like any signage that you think you're gonna be putting up that designates where JSX long-term? Is there a plan for?
So we can't say JSX long-term, but we are going to put, I think we ordered over 40 signs.
Okay,
So there's gonna be signs in the lot saying long-term lot, arrows, long-term lot, you know, pay here. There'll be signs all around the short-term lot that says, no overnight parking violators will be towed, and we'll have a tow company number, you know, if your car is towed, here's who to call. So we ordered 40+ signs to try to figure that out. We're also, and I think it might be a little later slide, or it might be this one. We're working on signs for the tenants along Airport Way. Think about the flight schools there, right? People are weasels. They see a spot where they can park for free. Why would I pay $11 a day when I can park in this, Colorado Heliops parking lot for free for 10 days? We're working and we're actually drafting up a letter to send to those tenants to say, here's the process, because not everybody's here and not everybody's gonna get this brief. But yeah, we've ordered, I think it's 40 plus signs to try to get that information out. Sorry, you had a question in the back.
How many spots in the long-term lot?
Currently, we have 109. We believe for the current, working with the airline, we need 80. As Soon as they add flights, we're at capacity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a long discussion, and because it's an airline and airlines change their mind and pull out like that, we decided to wait till next year, but we budgeted $1 million next year for parking. The parking lot improvements, expanding it. We'll pave the dirt lot. We're gonna do a bunch of things to sort of expand it. So we have 109 spots right now
That's the only place you can put long-term parking?
without spending significant amount of money, yes, sir. The short-term lot, we thought about splitting it in half and trying to sort of, I don't want to impact the tenants and the people, so we're gonna have to figure that out. And again, I think as events come up and as people travel and things happen, when you have somebody who's going to spend the night here, let me know. We're talking about hang tags, we're talking about a system, we haven't figured it out, but we're working through it, so that we don't tow cars that shouldn't be towed. What we're really looking to do is try to force a JSX customer, who again, is the poor man's charter. If you're flying a charter plane, you pay for parking, they're gonna do valet eventually. So they can afford the $11 a day and they'll charge for parking.
And this goes into effect aside from the teething issues. It's going to start August 4th or in August, like,
August 4th is the first 4 flights.
well, for the flights, but for the paid parking, that's the same schedule? Or are you guys doing? Sorry.
No,
I gotta
no,
be
no.
that guy, Ben.
And the reason, I didn't sign because of the question. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I signed because working through the system of getting a paid system and a contract signed, I believe we gave till September 1st.
Yeah, somewhere around.
So there's a FAQ on our website now, and on there it says, celebrate JSX, come join us, come fly, free parking till September 1st. Only because we couldn't get the system in place.
Generous,
Not because I'm a generous person. So yes, that's a great question, and thank you for bringing it up, but it's frustrating because that's a month's worth of lost revenue, which
That was my curiosity.
Yeah.
Paul, on your many days off, are we allowed to park on the north side of the terminal?
Randy, you can park in my spot anytime.
Okay.
September 1st.
September 1st. So, and again, I think that's important because I've gone to lunch probably with most of you at different times. And again, the short-term parking lot is there, but if you're coming in, and especially if it's a Saturday and it's not crowded and you want to come in, on the weekends especially, our parking lot has got 2 cars and I got my duty people on duty. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I'm having lunch with you this weekend, so
Yes,
you can park in my spot. I'll move one over.
that'd be great.
So, I already talked about Rentals is adding 25 vehicle spots. Some are over by the short term, and then the rest are at the end of their line where they currently park in the parking lot just down the road. I talked about the letter going to our tenants. We're trying to get that sort of figured out and what signs will be there and stuff, but the other thing I want it to be, and we'll be very clear in the letter, we as the airport are not the parking enforcement. I don't have the staff, I don't have the ability, I don't have the ability to do that. So we are working with a contract with a towing company, and that'll be on the signs, and actually bring out their own signs. There'll probably be 50 or 60 signs when they bring their signs out. So if you're a tenant here on the airport, and you're like, and that car's been, Greg gets in at 5:30, 6 in the morning, you're like, oh, that car was here yesterday, and then the next day, you can call us, and we'll say, hey, Greg, call this towing company. There are new state laws out that prohibit sort of immediate towing. There's a process that towing companies handle. But I will tell you, it's a 24-hour delay. So when you notice that a car is in your lot, not supposed to be there, when you call, it'll be at least 24 hours before they can tow it. And that's just the state laws.
Paul, I have a question for you about the towing thing. Does the airport have, or with your, working with your towing provider, have the ability to tow somebody's car, but just to somewhere still reachable around here? So it's not such a tragedy for the ones that are mistakes on either the person that parked the car's part or the airport's part or whatever, at least for 6 months or something, instead of taking their cars down to Denver or taking them far away.
So we looked at that. We actually looked at buying our own tow truck and doing just that, saying, hey, we have enough spots over on the south side. The problem is the recently passed law. It creates a conflict of interest for us to do that. And so we could do it for free, but now I'm out of, the money to buy a truck and storage and stuff. And there's just so many rules and regulations and processes that, again, we looked at it and we go, this just doesn't make sense for the airport to do. We don't want to tow cars. We really don't. We have gone round and round with my staff figuring out how we have to do this. At the same time, I have to protect my tenants. So again, I think that's where the hiccups are going to be. I believe there are going to be people who get towed that shouldn't be. Now, they're illegally parked, but they're tenants or guests or something. And we just have to get that word out continually, educate. I think the sign program is going to help that out. But with the law that was passed just this year from Colorado and towing, it became just too problematic. And we didn't want to get into a situation where we're violating law with, our own tow truck. And then some of my staff said, well, we can buy it, not airport, and make money. I said, no, we're not gonna do that either.
Start a towing company.
Last but not least, I think everybody in here should have this number. It's our ops 24-hour number. If you don't, take it down now. It's also on our website. It's also on the front door of our terminal and the ops buildings. They will assist you in any situation that arises to the best of their ability. Again, their focus is out on the airport, so we don't want to get into the enforcement business, but they are aware and know that we can reach out to them and they're going to say, okay, do this, or okay, I'll be down there and we can help out. Next slide, Ben. Okay, so what's the terminal impacts? We think minimum. Again, we're getting, 20 people in and 20 people out, about, 2 flights in the morning, then there's a big gap, 4 or 5 hour gap, then 2 flights in the evening and afternoon and evening. What you're going to see is where Denver Air Connect used to be. They're gonna bring in a big desk and some fancy stuff and so that's where they'll be. And if any of you walk through the terminal today, you're like, wow, this terminal looks huge. The 2 big vending machines that were downstairs for the last 3 years have moved upstairs, so that gives them a little bit more room for their customers. There's our security screening, pretty minor. It's, you don't have to put your hands up and do all that kind of stuff like you do at the DIA, and they'll run all their passengers through that. No requirement for any of us that are going out to do day-to-day business, go out and eat a burger on the patio or whatever from Blue Sky, but it's just to be aware that that will be there. And then they are getting in permitting to put that JSX sign up on our building so that people can see it. The theory is to try to get them to see it from the terminal or from the parking lot, so we don't have people walking into flight schools and different businesses like, I'm here to catch my flight. Again, that's all theory.
One way, like 2 months ago.
That was a day.
Yeah. So we think minimum, again, thinking ahead, we've priced, but we have not bought stanchions. Those are the posts with sort of the velvet rope between them. They're extremely expensive to get, like 3 with the ropes, almost $1,000. We think we may have to go there with Blue Sky, especially with the Wednesday crew and the crowd gets a little bit long, because we don't want them cutting across the terminal, because Go Rentals has gone into the corner where National used to have their desk. So National has been paying us rent for like 10 years and never used it. Sir?
We have about 15 stanchions in my warehouse that we have.
Nice.
Okay, great. I'll get your number after this. That would be fantastic. Thank you, sir. And what we think is we just put 3 stanchions kind of around the corner to wrap them around and head down the hallway. So instead of across the terminal, again, we'll play it by ear, but if we have access to stanchions, that would be great. So minimum impacts at the terminal. Next slide, Ben. Okay, here's, again, we think minimal impacts to the operators here at the airport. Their plane will park slightly forward of where Denver Air Connect parked, and the reason is the plane is bigger. And if you look, Ben, do you have a cursor you can put on our plows? 20 and 21. Those are our FBO plows. So we have part-time crews that come in just for snow, jump in those, and literally all they do is clear the ramps for the two FBOs. Because if we have the runways open, our main customers have to be able to get to our FBOs. And I need to be able to get those out in the snow. So we move that plane forward. The red box is the customs box, which everyone's aware of and doesn't really have any impact. The impact we do have is you can see the passenger route will go through that gate on the north side of the terminal and kind of down along the building and in. We have a lunchtime crowd that parks over there. We used to have them park up front. And about a year and a half ago, I said, hey, you know, that's for aircraft only. Can you guys mind parking on to the side? They all moved and they were like, yeah, no problem. I'm gonna ask them to move again and go from the north side down to the south side where there's that orange box. So if you guys are out there and your buddy's coming to visit you, and most of these people work on the airport, kind of drive over, park there, run in, eat blue sky, and then depart. Just ask them to park over to the south side and park over there and go through that gate. Because what I don't want, again, I'm always thinking about safety, is I don't want vehicles and passengers crossing past anytime I don't have to. So that'll keep that area safe for both the pedestrians and the thing, and also allow easy access to blue sky.
Impacts to the customs box as Signature and us being, ground handlers here in FBOs. What if we get an international flight for international or regulated garbage that decides they're gonna park there at one of the determined times for ERJs to depart or come in? How is that going to be handled, or is there any sort of mitigation from the airport?
Denied, they can't come in.
Got it. So I'll give the $200,000 fine for the regulated garbage.
So, and that's a great question, right? That's why we wanted people to come here, because those are the things I hadn't thought about yet. But what we did do is we moved that jet forward because of the plows.
Yeah.
So on those times, just let my ops guys know, 24 hours, hey, I've got an international plane, it's this big. They'll know to pull you guys, you can bring them as far forward as possible.
Okay.
But they'll also notify JSX, push their plane back. So that there's access to get in there, and so it shouldn't be an impact.
Okay.
Are you gonna like kind of paint a box around it or something, or? is
We are
it-
not
No?
to
Okay.
begin with.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about that, Greg. We're gonna put a T down, because that's what was Denver Air Connect had a T. Pilots and ground crew are familiar with that.
Yeah.
And maintaining the spot, the thing, and again, if we have to move and things, so I'm not saying we never will, but initially we will not.
Any kind of designation for the, I almost said employees, for the passengers of JSX or signage to say, you need to go through this gate and around that corner to the terminal rather than crossing through the center line over there, or the center gates.
So JSX is handling that.
Okay.
So their staff will inform them, go out, turn right. And they are working on their wayfinding plan from both the parking lot and the terminal. I haven't seen that yet. We were on the phone yesterday going, hey, we need these things, like, you guys are gonna start operating. Yeah.
3.5 weeks.
So, again, I expect hiccups, right?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna be like, oh my God, what a beautiful day. We're sitting out here. Oh, we gotta get on our plane. Again, it's actually okay if someone walks out the front gate, turns right. We don't want them to do, because we got, again, customs, things going on. And I think that's just one of those things as we get better and better. We may put a sign up there, we may put something on the website. I mean, we just we're learning, but right now, we think we have a good handle on it.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
How are they gonna process check bags? Where are they gonna pick passengers and pick them up and all that stuff, you know?
Could you go back to the terminal? So when you walk out of the building this evening, kind of go down the stairs and make a left U-turn, that whole side is basically JSX. And the way they do it is you come up to the gate or the desk, you hand them your ID, you hand them your bag, you do a little thing, they put them on a rolling cart, and they roll it in. When you land, they basically do a plane side pickup. Okay. So they take it out of the plane, put it on the ground, you walk down the stairs, there's my bag, you grab and go.
Sure.
I think the only question I had was about de-icing. Would you be able to de-ice there, or would it have to be elsewhere?
So I wish one of my ops guys was here because that's a technical question.
Yeah.
Good one, though. We have the ability to de-ice X amount of gallons there. I don't know what that number is. The idea is to, I believe, go to the FBOs and de-ice on your, so they load up, start up and go. And then de-ice at your location, and I'm not who's they're using or whatever. They haven't told us that yet. And then depart. It may change. Again, they haven't even got the signs yet in the desk here.
Well, I'm sure they.
De-icing is,
Do you guys have a contract with them yet?
we're supposed to get it back signed tomorrow.
Got it.
Yeah. That was a 3-hour phone call yesterday. I was like, hey. The other thing about 380, they don't need our permission to come here. They could literally start operating. It's just like if one of you guys came here and landed and stuff. So that was a lot of battles we had about, well, we can do it without your permission. I was like, well, I'll lock the terminal in. Like, we're gonna have a contract. We're gonna work it out.
How do I get it?
But I don't, so that right now is the plan. I think once they start operating, I think they're like, okay, we got through the first month. We haven't killed anybody. Things are successful. Tickets are going well. Oh shit, it's Colorado. We need to think about winter. And I think that's our next step. But right now, I was told initially that's what they would do. They would go to the FBO sites and do it at your sites.
Also, because of it being a 380, if they don't fill the seats and they don't want to fly, they don't have to, right? Like if they
do, and they don't have to. So there's nobody compelling them to, but their business model is this is not a hub.
got it.
So if that plane doesn't go back to either Burbank or Dallas,
Okay.
the next day's flights don't go out. So that's sort of, I mean, they have to get those planes back.
And then also maintenance issues in terms of the aircraft. I know I'm running you for sure.
Yeah, how many questions are you allowed?
Yeah. So,
How many you got, Joe?
we're actually we're actually playing 2 tees. So there's another plane spot just to the outside of that plane. And we have enough wingtip clearance for the beach, which is the biggest aircraft over there. And so we moved it all around and found where those spots are, so that we park, maintenance happens, weather happens. We can have 2 planes here and still operate all our flight schools and all our operations on this side. Man, I wish Chris was here. I would kill that guy.
At least it's not me.
That's right. No, sir.
Does JSX have any short-term plans to expand routes?
They do. Scares the crap out of me because of our parking, right? We're limited to 108. Their very next stop, they don't have a sort of an idea when. October is what they told me, but they don't know when, is at Vegas. And after that, there's, more California routes. What they would like to do, and they're actually looking at it in their sort of overall business model, is be able to fly from here to New York. Apparently the Embraers with their configuration don't have the legs to do that. But that would be kind of that sort of New York, kind of East Coast hits. All right, any more questions on the ramp, Greg? Sir?
I want to go back to operations, being the newbie here. Customer inconvenience as far as you say they'll be operating under the threshold of the TSA. So customers can carry what they want. They're not gonna have to unpack their luggage and go through all that downstairs.
So they do have that, it's called like Evolve 360 or Evoke 3, something like that, that security thing. It will sense weapons. You can travel with weapons like you can on any flight as long as you go through the steps. But yeah, you can't walk on with a holstered gun or a thing like that.
And thanks for answering that, but my question was going back to like contained liquids, the 3-ounce rule and that.
I don't believe they care. Because again, it doesn't follow under those standard. And to be honest, I've spent a lot of times figuring out what flights I'm going on and what seats I want to sit on, because Joe won't take me anywhere.
I was just thinking, you
There's
know,
no overhead.
early afternoon flight to Vegas, that should be our next goal.
Yes.
With a lot of liquid?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
So-
early afternoon flight and late.
On their website, I've never seen anything about the 3 ounce.
Okay,
So I don't believe, again, I think it's like a wheels up charter, it's a part 380. You could walk on there with a bottle of booze, which is what Randy does when he flies.
You give it to me.
That's right. So, I'm not 100% sure, but I have never seen anything sort of saying, hey, here's the rules and regulations or the limitations. So that means I'm a Marine, you have to spell out what I can't do.
there you go.
If it's not written in stone, then it's free to do after that.
But there's no overhead bins, so everything's underneath other than your personal item.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think the airlines are really looking at the 3 ounce rule anymore anyway, or TSA. I mean, you go through all the time and I don't see them stopping anybody unless it's a big bottle of something, you know.
I think that was the last slide. Let me go.
It's gonna be interesting.
So again, I think it's a big sort of monumental change, but a workable change for the airport, right? If we had gone, with a standard carrier, it'd be a whole different conversation about get your badges, you can't do this, you can't, I mean, there would be a lot of you can't do. We want you all to be able to do what you do here at the airport without impacting you, any more than we have to. And I think this is a great compromise. It gives us a service that we can give to the community, that people can go travel and have access here. And as they expand to all their route maps and stuff, what a great way to travel. Drive here in 15 minutes, get on your flight in another 15 minutes. The last time, and it's been 3 years since I traveled, I left my house 3.5 hours before my flight and still struggled to get there in time. You had to drive down there, the TSA, the trains, the whole 9 yards. And here it's like, 20 minutes through, you walk from the lot through the terminal, get your thing, and you're on the flight. So we think this is a great service, something that's gonna be great for this airport, gonna help us out in our goals to keep the airport up and running and financially secure.
Hey, Paul, do you mind repeating the numbers on what gets that $1 million mark?
10,000 employments. And it is prorated, so once you get 10,000, and then you get like, $500,000, you get, an extra money, and then you get, and so we were working with an airline that was gonna have 800,000 passengers a year coming through here. We spent 5 months negotiating that deal, and it kind of fell apart. I'm kind of glad it did. That was gonna be a $3.2 million entitlement from the FAA because of the amount of passengers. So the more passengers you get, the safer they want your airport. This one, with the 4 flights a day, we did some quick math. We figured, 22 passengers out of 30, we get about 20,000 passengers in the first full year. We won't get that this year because it's a late start. And then the FAA makes you do that for 2 years before you get that money. So it's just not a, flash in the pants, you get it, and then you get $1 million, and then they're like, see you, sucker. So we got to do it for 2 years, but we believe that this is going to be a very successful airline here. Okay, any other questions?
I want to take a minute and congratulate Paul. I've been flying out of here from mid-70s. And I've been on this board for 4.5 years since Paul came in. Why he picked me, I'm not sure. But this is a big deal, but this doesn't represent all he's done. I mean, we went through COVID. We've almost doubled our operations in 4.5 years. We've added FBOs, we've added Pilatus, we've sold or leased land, sold land. There's so much more that went on. When I came on this board, the finances were going down. We were upside down, in trouble. We've added new snow plows, we've added new equipment. We have a balanced budget, we have growth. And Paul, I just want to congratulate you on a great job.
Thank you, Randy, I appreciate it. And I'll just be honest, it's people like Ben and Brandon and Brian and the whole, I have one of the best airport crews in America. We are functioning at a super high level. Ben, would you stand up? I'll give you a quick hand. He hates that. But it's teamwork amongst the staff, but also having really smart people on my advisory board that I can have lunch with and kind of talk things through and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Having these meetings.
letting the public know. Jay's one of our former board members, and he was there for 3 years, I think, yep. We've been very, very successful. A lot of things happening here, so exciting. Friday, by the way, if you guys don't know, Pilatus is having a ribbon cutting on their second facility. When they built their first one, they thought it would be 5 to 10 years before they built their second facility. Started it in 2 years, and 3 years later, ribbon cutting. And they're already talking about a third facility. Their demand is so high that they can't keep up with it. And they're actually looking, this is really exciting. They're looking, because in Switzerland, they're in a valley, and the only way to build is up. They're looking to move jobs and capabilities from Switzerland to here. So again, exciting stuff. What a beautiful plane, what a beautiful, company, jobs and stuff. We're expanding the firefighting capabilities. The state is gonna base some Firehawk helicopters here starting next year. They get delivered in December. So they should have, the normal tanker base, and then they're gonna have some helicopters based here with that. So there's a lot of things going on. And again, it's a teamwork that we all put a lot of heart and soul into it. So thank you for.
What was the operations you told me, 187,000 this year? How many?
No, so last year, 2021, we were 201,000. We're on schedule to hit 285 to 290 if we stay.
And that puts us what number in the country that's busiest airport?
I believe we'll be in the top 10.
Wow.
I know that in 2021, Centennial had 300, might have been 2020, but Centennial had 310,000 operations. And they were the number 2 busiest GA airport in the country. So it was at 280 to 290, somewhere in there. Again, weather plays a part. We're skyrocketing last month. We're actually a little bit down this month, but we're on track to go up, about 40%, a lot of growth. And again, our businesses are successful, and their success is our success. And that's what we like to have happen.
We talk about the noise, and it's not gonna change. I mean, Delta just today announced they're not gonna grow any flights. They canceled thousands of them because they're short of people. And so for guys like Greg in the flight schools, there's nothing but good news for them, because this training's not stopping. This first time in my life, I've seen so much training for jobs rather than just people learning to fly. And so we've got a lot of work here, a lot of opportunity here. In fact, I played golf the other day at Omni, and this is a point I think I brought up to you. I don't play out there very often, but we were landing to the east. And, if we could get the flight schools to really fly a little higher on the approaches, every 172, it seems like that came in had to add power. They were just dragging it in. And if we could, teach them to fly up high where they're supposed to, and the right glide path, I think it helped the noise out there quite a bit. Because I just, all day, I'm trying to play golf and I'm watching them, and thinking.
I'm sure that's not looking for your ball.
Yeah.
That's because we told them to flush their toilets right over the top.
But I kept watching them, and they're just dragging them in. I mean, when I learned to fly years ago, you on an approach, you set your flaps, you shouldn't have to be adding power to get in there. In fact, you don't want to, because if you lose your engine, you're not gonna make it. So that could help a lot on the noise if we can keep them up and fly a right glide path.
So I believe Mr. Marriott is on the noise subcommittee.
Okay.
That will be sending out an invite relatively soon to our flight schools, to our advisory board, to air traffic control, to kind of come up with some sort of next generation things. We did the voluntary noise stuff 4 years ago, really started it, 3 years, we kind of finished it. But things like VFR routing, steeper approaches and things like that to kind of refresh all that. So that's right in the next, couple months, or actually probably next couple weeks or a month. We'll have our initial meeting and try to figure out some next steps. Another important fact I just read, an airline pilot has mandatory retirement at 65. Every 18 hours, we're losing a mandatory retired captain. So you think about that and you're like, that means Greg and the flight schools all across the country have got to have these flight schools students graduating, getting into the pipeline to get those jobs. I tell you, I wish I was 20. I wouldn't have spent 21 years in the Marine Corps, I'll tell you that much. I'd be, calling Greg and like, get me in the flight school. That's what I want to do, because it's a great job, it's a great lifestyle, and it's a great profession. I do such a great job of it. Tony?
Has there been any movement on the restaurant space above Signature?
No, but I have signature here. I have heard that they have a tenant for the entire floor, but they're not allowed to say who it is.
Yeah, pretty much. It's, it'll be interesting. Will be.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
so no restaurant though, right?
No restaurant.
Yeah.
No restaurant?
Marlo, if you have a minute, can you speak about your upcoming renovation? And how much you guys are gonna spend?
We are gonna have a renovation, all that is in the talks right now, just what FBO, how we're gonna plan out. As for, just who that's coming in, stuff like that, we also got plans for the parking lot. We'll have a full-time valet out there, so it'll probably won't use, the parking over here and getting the green tag in the window. But we actually have people coming in, let us know, what's this green tag in my window? And it's like, well, did you park? Where'd you park? And they point right over there near the rental car parking. So we got plans to mediate that. That way it'd be less stressing for you guys. And yeah, the renovation's coming up. We're looking forward to starting that in September. It looks to be pretty exciting.
Good. He's very modest, by the way. I've talked to Tori, their boss, and it's gonna be fantastic. There's some really exciting stuff going on over there, and they're gonna really make that building and make that facility pretty awesome. Sure.
Do you have any updates on what's going on with Sim Streets and then subsequently the hang?
Yes. I love questions. So Sim Street is being moved kind of to the southwest. And if you think about it, it kind of just slides over. And you know where El Dorado is, it's gonna connect there and then connect just below Control Tower Road. That's in final permitting. So we expect construction to start this year and then completed next year. We are in the final, literally, I expect it any day, just like the other lease with JSX. 30 acres between Pilatus and the water tanks is being leased to ACAP for development, a major development there. So that kind of first phase is what we call it, the upper development. But 22 and 23 for the road to be moved, 23 and 24 for taxiway to go out into that land. We have 170 acres on the other side of Sims that we can develop for hangars. So we'll start developing that and selling and leasing parcels to developers and stuff, early 2024. So that they can actually build concurrently with the taxiway, so they finish their product right when the taxiway going out there. The one project, the development along, southeast of the, water tanks, kind of, wish we had a map up here. Lichter Landings, you might have got an email from it, about 182 hangars. That deal fell through. It was too expensive to fill in the hole, and it was too expensive to pave the road. To start construction before he did anything else was gonna be $5 million. And he just, people were already saying, hey, your rent's really high. It was like $1,000 for kind of a small hangar, and then on up. He's like, I can't even make it, to financial sense because of the initial investment. So if anyone wants to develop out there and has an extra 5 million, yeah, Ben, can you make a little line over there? There is land that is available to develop, and there's some plans to build 100+ hangars over there that were, basically approved by the FAA.
Where would that be? Oh, in that area where the fill was necessary?
Yes.
Okay. But, I'm sorry. what was
Well, I was gonna say, for the people here, we talk about commercial traffic, we talk about all this stuff. This is all money that's going to help us to help develop more, GA, aircraft stuff, hangars, taxiways. It's gonna help us, fund deferred maintenance, which is about $3 million in the GA area. So everybody thinks that all we care about is the commercial. The commercial gives us the money to help the GA side. And that's one of our plans.
I love GA, except for Jay. Kind of on my nerves.
Just because I turned you upside down in the airport.
That's right. It's a basic tenet of not only every airport, but especially this airport, we need you. But to be honest, you guys don't pay the bills. I need corporate and I need commercial to pay the bills. So to be able to fund, we did a brief. I was actually sick at home, playing as I was sick, and Brian did the brief like 2 months ago. I want to say almost $1 million on asphalt because we were so far behind. We had set 100,000 for 10 years. And that wasn't keeping up with the asphalt repairs. And that's not the FAA funded, that's airport funded, asphalt repair amongst the hangars and some of the ramps and things like that. So, just like Randy said, it's so critical to have these sort of different revenue streams so that I can afford to fix the, the different hangars and the different areas. I mean, eventually, I think we'll probably pave that road so that the next developer can come in and say, well, that was, $2 million that I didn't have to spend. I can now make that and we'll build those hangars and make those available. I just don't have the money to do it now.
Paul, sir, any talk of the tower going 24-hour day?
Initially, no. I mean, there's talk, so yes, initially, no. We have to get those operations up.
Well, I mean, it doesn't Centennial run 24 hours a day.
That, I don't know. Does anyone know that?
I thought they did.
Haven't been there for a long time.
That, like a lot of things, is sort of an FAA, check mark. You have so many options.
Well, when you said they had 300,000, I wondered if that was how they got there. Because as I remember a while back, some of the, like big boys that had the charters, executive jets and stuff had to go there because our tower closed at 10 and they needed a tower to get in.
So we've talked to the tower, and they're like, well, we don't rate it yet. I think there's a comment, and again, it's never like, oh, if you hit this many ops, you get this much thing. It's your fleet mix, your operations, your hours, when are the planes coming in, what type of planes. I will tell you, JSX changes that algorithm to make it easier for the FAA to require, the tower actually requests to FAA headquarters for more people. So having passengers coming in here on a regular basis changes that. It also actually changes how much money we can get from the FAA, not only the $1 million, but then sort of the, month or year by year project money that we can get. Because again, it makes a difference when you have 20, 40, 500,000 passengers coming in. They want better ARC trucks, better runways, better taxiways, better lighting, better tower. I mean, it all kind of plays in. So I think that's to come, and I would think sooner rather than later, Jay.
I just wondered if that was sort of on the table.
The other issue with the FAA, they have the same problem as the airlines do. They can't find enough people. And so until they solve some of that, I don't think they're going to expand some of these hours.
Agree.
Okay. You are correct, Centennial is on the 24th. Okay, I thought it was. Oh,
So there you go.
So midnight flights or just.
Yeah.
It's big stuff. Thank you for the briefing.
Any last questions on anything?
You never see the jet pilots in these meetings, right?
Never. Again, I want to thank the board. By the way, I want to thank my boss, Stephanie. She's amazing. Thanks everybody in the crowd for coming. Please take a slice of pizza to go. My maintenance crew that works here, throughout the night will enjoy the dinner. But I appreciate the advisory board and everything that we've done together going forward. Again, what I think we are about to do is hit warp speed on development and things happening. And when we talk about a road being moved and taxiway being put in, to have access to basically 200 almost acres of land to develop. I've been dancing for 4 years with companies that want to come here and don't have the land to say, yes, come and do this. We are, 2 years, 2.5 years away from being able to say, sign a lease, you can have this 25, 30 acre parcel, sign a lease, you can have, and then be able to develop this airport to support all the functions of it. Are very excited. I actually had a meeting with Greg just the other day, talking about some long-term plans. We are in a position at this airport, unlike probably any other airport in the country. I had the airport director of Quad Cities, Minneapolis. He was coming out for a conference and he stopped by to chat. And he's like, yeah, man, we're giving incentives, we're doing it, like, we're begging for people, we've got 200 acres of land, but nobody wants to come there. It's too far away from any, they're by Peoria and Cedar Rapids, I think, they're like 2 hours each way.
Davenport, Cedar Rapids, or Davenport, Moline.
Yeah, what Greg said. Greg said.
John Deere.
He did say the John Deere headquarters is at that airport, so we, on the other hand, are just the opposite. We are in a place where everybody wants to come, everyone wants to build, everybody wants to fly, so it's really fun being at an airport that has that much demand and desire and enthusiasm to do stuff here, so with that, I will turn it back over to Phil and the advisory board.
Okay, thanks. Obviously a big day coming. Talk parking later. I'm sure many times.
Yep.
All right, well, unless there is any other business in front of the board, we'll adjourn on time. John has one.
I have one thing. I just wanted to real quickly just give everybody an update on the community noise roundtable. Since I sit on both, I just thought I'd like to keep this group updated on what that is. So we met earlier this week. The biggest thing that's happened at the community noise roundtable, the roundtable members have set dues for next year. They've up to this point been about $3,500 per member government. For next year, it's going to be 11,000 per member government, to hopefully provide funding for there to be some, the ability for the group to hire consultant to work on a couple of issues. With that, Westminster has withdrawn themselves from the community noise roundtable, which a little bit of a shame. I haven't got to talk personally with them yet, although I did watch their meeting where they made that decision. My hope is that they will come back at some point. It's better that's a more workable situation if everybody's involved, and Westminster's participation up to now has been kind of thin anyway, and so I think they maybe there's some misunderstanding there of why they're not. But beyond that, the noise roundtable heard from 3 of the municipalities that are close by, or 3 of the entities close by, about their development plans, because that being one of the issues about noise around the airport is when you allow development right up to the edge of the airport, there's that's kind of what you're creating. So next month, we'll hear from 4 of the other entities about their development plans in and around the area. And good discussion. It's a workable group. I think that group started a year and a half ago with started really from zero. And so in that time, there's been a lot of education and a lot of kind of the group kind of becoming a workable group. And I think they're having a good effect and being able to take and respond to citizens' complaints about noise as well. So far, everything there seems to be going good. But anyway, that's just a little update on where it is. Unless you have anything you'd add to that, Paul, would you?
It's my favorite meeting of the month.
Yeah, it's
always early to that
It's a
one.
meeting that Paul and other members get called names.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Okay, any other? Nope, looks like we're good. Then we'll adjourn at 6:06. Thank you. Appreciate everyone's time. Thanks all the attendees for coming.
Thanks, Ben.
All right. See you next month.
I hope so.